When you get to a beautiful location and you're wanting to film, do you ever feel like you're limited to your creativity? Let me show you that you're not. I'm always preaching. Play around with your environment and let your imagination run wild. And we tend to block our own creativity and think, there ain't much to film here. So let's challenge yourselves here, all right? I'm gonna tell you some tips, tricks, and hacks to keep in mind when you're filming anything. This will help you enhance your creativity, your cinematography, filmmaking, and storytelling skills. So let's go. Is lavender? Oh, it's on my nose. What's up, everyone? If you are new here, welcome. I'm Desiree LeCap, aka LeCapture. I'm a filmmaker and content creator sharing all tips, tricks, hacks, and facts with you. If you've been here before, I'm super grateful to have you back. In this video, I'll be sharing some cinematic cheat codes that will help you elevate your cinematography and filmmaking skills without having to move your camera. Because sometimes we do put those limitations on our creativity and ourselves because we think environment, area, or thing isn't good enough, that the equipment that we have isn't good enough. We just have to challenge our creativity. But in this video, I'm gonna just put you on with some tips and tricks of what you could do to really elevate yourself. Let's get straight into it. Tip number 1, try to use manual focus. I know it could be a little bit intimidating when you're first starting out, but the more you do it, the more you develop that skill to be able to pull focus. Well, we understand that manual focus is more relying on your eye to tell you that the specific point is sharp. And on the other hand, autofocus lets the camera take full control. So of course, if you're just starting out as well, it is good to use manual focus, but autofocus is great too. The only con with that is focus breathing. So focus breathing can essentially ruin the look and feel of your video when focus is trying to set, especially if the camera itself doesn't have fast focus, or if the lighting is off, or if it generally just doesn't know what to focus on. So an extra tip to this tip: if you're out filming by yourself and you wanna manually set your focus, what I do is I grab an object and I kind of just set it in place where I will be sitting. And on top of that, on my camera, I have the setting on where I'm able to see what is in focus, just to double check that my eye isn't tripping. Tip number 2, use foreground. We understand that composition is important, but anyone could go out and point the camera at anything, right? It takes intentionality to add elements to your frames to not only add depth, but enhance your story. So the most fundamental reason to utilize foreground elements in your composition is to add depth. To truly unlock the power of cinematography and to train your eye to find the most distinguished compositions, you need to understand, embrace, and master the multiple layers available to you. So first, we have the foreground. It's the closest to the audience's eye, meaning what's directly in front of the lens. Then we have the middle ground. It's the space within a composition between the foreground and the background. And then lastly, we have the background. It's the space further away behind both the foreground and the middle ground. So notice here how the 3 different layers work together to provide depth and complexity. Focus is a large part of where your eye comes to rest, but beyond that, you see a sophisticated composition that makes full use of the available imagery. So this one, the composition is much more simplistic. There are only 2 layers, a middle ground or foreground, depending on how you look at it, and a background. So for some, this may seem more inviting, while for others, it may just be pretty boring and bland. But depending on your intention with your story or your videos, it's really up to you on how you view it and how you want to tell it. Tip number 3, let's use leading lines. That is a compositional technique of using natural or man-made lines in your frame in such a way that it guides your viewer's attention towards your subject. They could be seen literally anywhere, no matter where you are. So better understand, let's start with just looking at a path, right? Like a path with borders, like an aisle or a hallway or even stairs. So this is a perfect example of leading lines. We have the trees on the left and the right side, and then we have the architectural, beautiful building right in the center. The trees help our eyes lead straight into that beautiful architecture. And that way the leading lines help our attention go towards the subject. So next time you film, look around and see what you discover and how you could implement that into your video. Tip number 4, simple keyframes can help bring life to your static shots. Briefly, in animation and filmmaking, a keyframe is a drawing or a shot that defines the starting and ending points of a smooth transition. So a simple keyframe like zooming in and out will help, especially when you're filming by yourself. Because it is a static shot with your camera on your tripod, this could add some life to that video. And it could be done in post-production, and depending on the scene, music, or overall mood, the speed of your zoom in or out can tell you a lot. So how I see it is like a slow zoom in and out is adding that dramatic effect, and then sort of fast adds that quirkiness or like straight up in your face. Tip number 5, as a cinematographer, it's easy to get caught up in using fancy cameras or camera moves with jibs and sliders. Depending on the content of the scene, an elaborate camera move would only be distracting and kind of pointless sometimes. So that's why it's important to remember, you know, the little guys, right? The static camera shots. When a shot feels boring, add some intentionality to it. Is it intentionally static for a reason that you want your audience to feel a certain way? So a static shot is basically a shot that does not have any tilts, pans, dollies, trucks. You know, sometimes we forget how important a simple camera shot can be. And if used correctly, the static shot can be just as powerful. So overall, I'm gonna stay preaching it. The only limitations that you have are the ones that you put on yourself. When you go out to film anything and everything, try to challenge your creativity and step away from the limitations that you put on yourself. Because there could be beauty everywhere and anywhere that you go. Have fun while you're doing it. Because the more you stress out about needing to get a certain shot versus wanting to get a certain shot and doing it, makes a big difference in the outcome of your videos. All right, well, I hope you guys go out and create your own fire-inspiring stuff. Tag me in your things. I'd love to see what you come up with, especially if it comes from one of the videos that I've produced to help you guys with some tips, tricks, facts, and hacks. I'm super excited for what's to come. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe because I am coming in with some heat. I've said it before and I'm gonna say it again. Some heat, y'all. Also, make sure you turn those post notifications on so you're notified every time I post a video. As of right now, it is every single Sunday, so look forward to that. All right, y'all, I appreciate you all so very much. Thank you for being you, and I'll see y'all at the next video. Peace.